Hi, welcome to another episode of Ask the Trichologist. My name is Atilola and I'm the certified trichologist at African Naturalistas Hair Clinic. African Naturalistas is basically your one-stop shop for all your hair care needs. We have hair products, we have a hair clinic, we have memberships, we have masterclasses and conferences, we have regimens, we have everything that has to do with your hair care, because our goal is to help you achieve your own goal of healthy hair naturally. So once again, you are welcome to today's episode of Ask the Trichologist. I hope you have gone to other previous videos to watch them, to consume them, to learn from them, to help you help yourself use them to achieve whatever your goal of healthy hair is. And before we move on, what I want you to do, is to click the subscribe button. Click the subscribe button, like this video, comment, and do everything you need to do to just make sure people see this wonderful content and people like you benefit what you are also benefiting when it comes to hair and scalp care. So welcome to today's episode. Without further ado, we are just going to be going straight into the question for today. So the question for today comes from Nana. That's Nana. Okay, that's a Ghanaian name, right? Okay, it comes from Nana, and she's saying that I have always heard about so many debates of whether I should use heat directly on my hair or not. You know, I've used heat in the past, and sometimes it has ended up very badly, and sometimes nothing serious really happens. So I just really want you to put this to a full stop and let us know whether heat is actually good for our hair. All right, thank you very much, Nana, for this question. Thank you. So I guess this question is a generic question, a question that many people will be benefiting from directly. And yeah, I'm very glad that you asked this question, because it's also going to help me teach you about something many people don't know about, especially people that use heat on their hair from the scientific point of view. So number two is heat is neutral. Like, it depends on how you use it. You can use heat on your hair and it will be very okay for your hair. Your hair will not really go bad, and you can use it in a way that is going to damage your hair, it's going to break your hair, it's going to do bad things to your hair basically. And I'm sure that you have always seen videos on social media about how somebody used heat on her hair and the hair just basically fell off. You've heard about heat damage. You've heard about so many bad effects of using heat, right? So I'm sure you are not privy to that, but in case you're privy to that, yes, heat can be very, very bad for your hair strands, especially when there's direct application of heat on your hair without protecting it with a heat protectant. And I'm not talking of a natural oil like this, because when you put heat and maybe you put an oil, like for example sunflower oil or grapeseed oil, or just a very regular carrier oil with a low heat point, and use it on your hair, it's basically as if you are frying your hair, because the hair is going to reach its particular heat point and then fry the hair strands. So no, please don't use your regular carrier oils as your heat protectant and say that you have used heat protectant on your hair and basically go and fry your hair. You have to use a well formulated heat protectant on your hair, and then you follow the instructions and then you use the heat on your hair. Even as at that, you should not use the heat for too long on your hair, right? You shouldn't use the heat for too long on your hair, and you should not use it too often really, because you are having direct contact with your hair cuticles when you're using the heat appliance on your hair over and over and over again. Then you end up with damaged cuticles, and once your cuticles are damaged and they fall off, they expose the cortex of your hair strands. And once the cortex has been exposed, that hair strand is as good as gone, because it's just a matter of time before the hair strand falls off. it breaks off, it becomes weak, it breaks off and falls off. Because once your cortex is exposed, your cortex is where everything about your hair is. Your cortex is where the life of your hair resides. It's the part that determines the melanin of your hair or the lack of melanin. It's the part that determines the coil pattern. It's the part that determines the thickness, the strength, everything about your hair strands. What makes your hair unique and what makes it different from Tina's hair is right there in your cortex. So once you see your cortex exposed as a result of heat damage that you have inflicted on your hair cuticles, that hair strand is as good as gone. It's just a matter of time before it falls off. That's why you don't want to get your cuticles damaged by using too much heat on your hair or too frequent heat. Also, too frequent use of heat, too much use of heat is very bad for your hair strands. Now let me now tell you about something you probably have never heard before. It's called bubble hair. So it's basically when you look at some hair strands under the trichoscope, you can see that the hair strand itself is swollen like balloon because air, that's AIR, has entered the hair strands. It has entered the cortex of the hair and it has formed bubbles. Imagine when you blow a balloon, right? You blow air into a balloon and it blows up. You know that that balloon is just basically a rubber material, but it has taken in air and then it blows up. Imagine that, and your hair strands are like that. Though you cannot see your physical eyes, I'm just going to put some I'm going to put a picture somewhere in this video right now. Though you cannot see your physical eyes, but it is right there, and then you have what they call bubble hair, and at this point in time you have it all over your hair strands. And how does bubble hair yes, how does it occur? It is when you have water, your hair is still a bit wet, right? It's still a bit wet. Then you take your heat appliance and then you begin to apply heat on your hair, either to straighten it or to curl it or whatever. And then you use this heat appliance at a very high temperature. And then remember that those water droplets are there. And then the water droplets begin to boil, because what happens when you apply heat to water, it reaches its boiling point and then it begins to boil and bubble. So this water, these droplets of water, or this water droplets begin to boil and they find their way into the cortex of your hair and they expand them. Remember, they are already bubbles, right? That already, because once water touches your hair, ideally your cuticles are supposed to raise and the water and any other thing will penetrate your hair strands. And then you add this heat appliance without letting your hair to dry well. You add this heat appliance and then you put the water, you put the heat appliance, on your hair strands, and then the water inside the cuticles begin to bubble, they begin to swell, and then they stay there, and you have hair, not HAIR but AIR. You have it trapped in your hair strands. That is how you have bubble hair. And once you have bubble hair, that is damaged hair. That hair strand is just going to be gone in a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, but it is actually damaged hair. So how exactly do you avoid having bubble hair? Number one, don't apply heat on your hair strands when it is wet. Don't apply heat on your hair strands when it is wet. Secondly, don't use your hair appliances at very high temperatures, just in case you think you have dried all your hair strands and then there's still some bit of moisture there, wetness there that you are not aware of. Even if that is the case, then you will not have the bubble, or you will not have the heat turning that part of the wetness to boiling point, taking it to boiling point and then damaging your hair strands. So this is exactly how some people have heat damage, and they don't even know that this is how they have heat damage. They just think that it's because they use the heat appliance and then they overdid it and then it melted the hair strands and then the hair broke. No, for some people it's actually bubble hair, and this is how you can avoid having bubble hair. So I know that this has been very good for you, Nana. I hope this has been very good for you. You have learned something from this and you now know what to do when next you are going to apply heat on your hair, what to avoid. Remember, avoid using it too often, avoid using it without heat protectant, and avoid using it on wet hair so that you can avoid bubble hair strands. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be having for you today. I want you to you know what to do. I have dished you some dose of goodness today. I want you to click the link below and subscribe, and then comment on this video. And then I also want you to click the notification bell. If you have any questions that you want me to ask in the next episode of Ask the Trichologist, I want you to please ask in the comment section, or you send an email to att@africannaturalistas.com. That's att@africannaturalistas.com. The description will be the details will be in the description box below. And I also want you to find out more about the Good Hair Tribe using the link in this description box below. Find out more about a lot of things that we do, and just follow us on all our social media handles. My name is Atilola once again, and I'm going to see you in the next episode of Ask the Trichologist, but not before you subscribe and let your friends know that they should be subscribing to this channel. See you next episode. Bye.